Welcome. Happy to see you here. And this session is about using Lync like a LyncPro, right? How many of you are using Lync today? Everyone, that's good. Keep your hands up. How many are using it on Mac? Couple of you? Great. How many are using it on a Windows machine? Yep, all of you. Great. Cool. How many are using Lync 2010? One? Yeah, you're on the Mac. Okay, great. This session is about the end user experience for you as a LyncPro to do more with Lync. And remember all those cool tricks you can do in Lync, but what you forget to re-implement if you reinstall your machine and so on. These tips typically don't scale in an organization, but are more tips for you as end users yourselves. Some of them can be implemented in an entire organization, of course, but this is tips and tricks for you to be awesome at Lync. I have a blog series on my blog, msunified.net, called Using Lync Like a LyncPro. And you find it's actually a separate topic where you find tips on how to set up custom presence states, how to disable popups, and other community-based tools as well. There's a lot of tools out there that are value-add tools for Lync. So my goal for this talk is to let you know what's out there and show you how it works. And maybe you can go home and play around with it yourself. Sounds interesting? Yeah. Yay. Demo points. Let's have some fun with presence. Presence is a core part of the Lync experience. You can be available, busy, in a conference call, in a mobile call maybe. I'll show you how. Meeting tips. How to do meetings even better than today. And then all the other stuff that doesn't fit in a category of its own. So my name is Ståle Hansen. I work at Knowledge Factory here in Norway, and I'm a chief technical architect. My main focus is Lync. I've been doing Lync since live communication server and lots of work with enterprise voice. I have a blog, msunified.net, and also part of the UC Architects podcast. The UC Architects podcast is for you IT pros that want to know more about Lync and Exchange and what's new, what's working and not working. So let's have some fun with presence. Custom presence states. Anyone use that today? Yep, couple. Great. Then I want to show you how you can use custom presence states in your productivity zone. And then I want to show you how you can integrate Lync presence with your Skype client presence. So, custom presence states. Let's zoom in here. So on my blog, there's an article about custom presence states. I created a script at Microsoft Script Center, which will create the XML file and the registry settings to do this on your side of doing this. Because you can implement this on a server side as well in a PowerShell commandlet, but then you need to affect everyone else having the custom presence state. So this script, as you see, will create different cultures for your present states. And second, there. And the most important part here, it will take the culture of your local computer and also do it in English. Because lots of you probably use an English client sometimes, and the present state only show in the client language you have on your computer. By running this script, it will create the registry settings necessary to do this, and also creating a folder on your C drive called custom presence, where we store the XML file. So running the script will create all the necessary settings, and if this is the first time you've done this, you need to reboot your computer in order to have the changes take effect. So what does it look like? Logging back into the Lync client, you get additional present states here. And you can name them whatever you want in the script. Like ping me whenever, workshop, in a mobile call, and so on. And you can go back into the script and re-edit what it should say. And this will show up for all users with the company relationship. So you can show this to external users as well, if you elevate their relationship into company. So all your colleagues will see this. And if you have external users that by default are in the external relationship, they won't see the name of this present state. But what I do when I have external users added to my Lync, I elevate them to company relationship because I want to show them what kind of presence I have. Because being just read and busy isn't enough. People will contact you anyway. So I want to tell them what kind of busy I am. I want to tell them I'm in a workshop. You may be in a big screen when talking with me. Or I'm presenting, or I'm in a call, I'm in a conference, and so on. So you have different kinds of being busy as well. And then we have this Pomodoro sprint, and I will talk a bit about that. Oops. So, recently, I've been looking into productivity tips and how to be more productive when working as an information worker at home or at the office. And I found out about Pomodoro, the Pomodoro technique. Anyone heard about that technique? One person? Great. So, in productivity in general, I found that human beings, and maybe especially men, are not good at multitasking. Even though you think you're good at multitasking, you're not. And the thing is, if you want to get things done, you should not multitask. Just wait with that. And which means you need to focus, you need to find what you want to do during the day. And the Pomodoro technique is about concentrating on that for 25 minutes. And then you take a break, and then you move on and take another 25 minutes. And try to do as many as you can during a day. And the thing is, when you are in that productivity state, you should shut down everything on your computer. You shouldn't read email, you shouldn't take phone calls, you shouldn't let colleagues disturb you. But it's only 25 minutes, so you will be available. You will be able to answer that email. People can wait 10 minutes for an answer to an email, right? Yeah? Oh, okay. So, and another thing here is that it takes about 7 minutes for you to get in the zone, for your train of thought to be where you want it to be. So if someone disturbs you after 10 minutes, then you need to spend another 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 10 minutes getting back to what you were doing. And sometimes it takes such a long time to get back in the zone that you maybe procrastinate. You won't do it, or you do it later. So I created a script that will help you focus for 25 minutes using Lync presence and shutting down your computer, shutting down email and everything. But the important part here is that we'll turn it on again after 25 minutes. You will become available again and so on, because you forget, right? That suddenly you have been in Do Not Disturb an entire day because you set it because you were going to focus for a couple of minutes. So I created a script called Pomodoro Sprint, and it involves using the Lync SDK on your computer. So you need to install the Lync SDK and use PowerShell to manipulate your presence and your note in the Lync client. And this is actually quite useful. And let me show you. So I have this blog post about this, and the prerequisites are, as I said, you need to download the SDK. It's not that hard really, but there is one super tip when doing that. Because if you just click install on the exe file when installing the Lync SDK, it wants you to install Visual Studio. And you don't want that if you're not a developer. So you extract the files into a folder, and then you run the MSC file that fits your business. And then it just will install. And now you have the SDK installed on your computer. So that was the first prerequisite. And then we need, of course, to have the custom presence state, and you can copy the script. I double-clicked and I copied into PowerShell ISE. And by running the script, you can decide here how long you want to run it. 25 minutes is the default one. And it's not a PowerShell script where you give input and so on. You do everything in the script. But here you see it's counting down. And you see in the Lync client, my presence is Pomodoro Sprint, and I will be available in 25 minutes. So keep calm, right? And as time passes by, you will see that it will change. So it will change for every minute. And it will show I will be available in less than a minute, and then 30 seconds, and so on. It will play a sound when you start the script to let you know that you are now in a focus zone. And it will also use presentation mode on your computer, which will suppress all kinds of notifications. So now you see I will be available in 10 seconds, and then 9, so people can really know when you will be available, right? And when to contact you. But the most important part here is that you will become available again when you are finished. Or it will reset your status, so if you are in a meeting, you will go back to that default meeting status. And so you don't have to shut down Outlook, you don't have to shut down any of your Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. It will suppress any notification, even from modern UI apps and your local apps. Because as soon as you see a title of an email, you start thinking, right? And then you drop out of your zone. So it's all about focusing on what you were doing, and then taking a break, reading email, whatever, and then try to get back to it. Cool? It is actually quite cool. I think so. Okay, so there was a guy that created a tool that syncs your presence with your Skype for Windows client. And this is useful for those who have both clients installed, one for personal use and one for business. And his name is Graham Copley, and he creates lots of tools, lots of useful tools. And it's just a Windows installer that will set up this tool for you. So from his blog article, you can install the tool, and it will set up the synchronization between the two clients. So it's a client-side synchronization. The thing is, when you have installed the tool, you need to go into your Skype client and allow access for third-party products. And then when you, for example, use the Pomodoro script to automatically setting your status, or you're in a meeting, you're in a conference, it will change the status on Skype as well. So here, I am in a mobile call, and you can see I'm in a mobile call on Skype as well. How cool is that? Huh? And if you change the status, it will change instantly. Even use custom presence states as well. That is so cool. Anyone here use the Skype client as well as Lync? Yep. Me neither. But here we go. Okay, meeting tips. Anyone here been in a Lync meeting? Yep, lots of you. That's cool. And in a Lync meeting, have you seen that you get sometimes a couple of pop-ups telling you, well, you are sharing your screen, and do you really want that? Yes, I pressed the button. Please let me share my screen. And there's a script out there that will disable those pop-ups for you. So instead of having those pop-ups every time for all these scenarios and manual clicking them, you can of course set it up and do it programmatically. Like you're leaving your meeting, and should you do that? Yes, I click the button. So Greg Sheridan in Sydney have created a script that disables these pop-ups. And you can download it from his blog and run it. It will disable all the pop-ups on your computer. And you can also set what kind of grade of pop-up disabling you want. And you can also reset it if you want to show the pop-ups in a demo or something. So now when we go back to the meeting, we see that we don't get any pop-ups when we want to share our screen or leave the meeting and so on. But so you can also use the script in order to reset. So if you want to see the pop-ups and live with the pain of new end users using this, Then you can reset it and you can control it. But there is one pop-up you don't want to disable, and that is what kind of device do you want to join a meeting with, which you find under settings and telephony. Because sometimes I don't want to join with audio, especially if you are in a conference with a Lync room system, or you're in a meeting room where someone else is joining the meeting. So instead of having voice and audio in your meeting, you just want to see the application sharing without affecting and getting feedback on audio. So it's a good thing actually to be asked, what kind of device do you want to join a meeting with? So that is the one pop-up I don't disable. And it's easier to not make, you don't have feedback and so on when you are in a meeting with someone else in the room. Anyone had that? Being in a meeting and you have feedback and someone needs to mute, you need to mute, I need to mute my mic. And yeah, just avoid that. Don't join with audio. And here's a super tip for those doing lots of federated calls. Because in Lync 2010, if you had a picture in Lync, it would be shared with federated contacts, because it would be downloaded through the presence subscribe between two clients. They changed that in Lync 2013, where now you can store high-resolution photos in Exchange, but it won't share that picture with external contacts. It's internal within the organization, even though if you have a picture of yourself in Active Directory. So for external contacts, you are always without a picture, unless they have added you into Outlook and added a picture to your contacts from LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. But then you don't have control of what you look like in a meeting, because suddenly it's the Facebook party picture you have in this serious meeting with external partners, and that doesn't fit. So take control over your federated photos by using an external web source for your photo. So you have 3 different kinds of photos: Active Directory and hidden, and from a website. And to get this set up, you need to have an on-premises link. It doesn't work with Lync Online at this time. And you also need, on the server side, to enable the client policy to do this. So you need to go into your client policy and create a new setting, which is enable presence photo options. So you need to load the client policy and just add this setting. And this became available about a year or 2 ago. So it isn't there by default. So after you have added this setting, you are now able to choose a web space for having your photo in a call. And then you have full control over how you look in a meeting. And the size of that picture should be 200 by 200, because that's the maximum resolution for this kind of photo. If you have a bigger photo, it will scale down. And if you have a smaller photo, it will scale up. So the difference between using this technique instead of using picture from Exchange and Active Directory is that it will, if you have a high resolution photo in Exchange, you will look better if people view your photo in full screen on their link. But sometimes, for me especially, I do a lot of federated calls, and I want to control how I look in those meetings. Okay. One other thing is sometimes, probably more than a few times, you are doing Lync meetings from wherever. Through 4G, on the airport, in the hotel, in the car, when you park your car, of course, and so on. And you want to make sure the quality is acceptable. Microsoft have released a tool called the Pre-Call Diagnostic Tool. It's available as a modern app as well as a Windows app, where it will check your bandwidth, packet loss, and so on from that location. So if you're going to do Lync meetings from a hotel room or a hotel lobby, you can use this to make sure that you get what you want. So it will sign in and do actual tests and put data towards your edge server. And it will measure packet loss, it will measure latency, and so on. It's really useful for validating the wireless network, or you should consider plugging in an Ethernet cable instead. So make sure it works. So this was from the wireless here, and it was surprisingly good. And then I want to tell you about joining a meeting from Lync Mobile. Not long ago, there were a new setting available that if you were on 4G or GSM, you could force the client to join using either voice or IP or GSM and call you back. So here I'm one-click joining a meeting, and I have it call me back on my cell phone instead of using voice or IP. Because if you're moving around, it would be easier to make sure you always have good voice quality, even joining a meeting on your mobile device. So there's a setting here that will let you choose doing voice or IP in Wi-Fi, but as soon as you leave Wi-Fi, it will call you like this. So the server is calling you back. It's really useful when joining meeting from a mobile phone. And the same setting is available on iPhone and Android as well. Okay. And then we have lots of other tips. Anyone here have had the need to log in and switch Lync accounts just to test a customer setup or test how does that user with those settings experience Lync instead of me? And switching between those accounts are not supported in Lync. You have one account and then you need to log out and add a new user. Well, there's a tool called Profiles for Lync, where you add your name and you add your different accounts. And you can store your password as well. So you don't have to spend much time switching accounts. So here I have two accounts, my Knowledge Factory account and my Microsoft account. And I can switch easily between those accounts. And you can do this all day. It's awesome. But this is really useful, and I can't live without it. It's called Profiles for Lync. And so I can have a lot of customers, user down here, and suddenly you need to log in to a user you haven't logged in for quite some time. Of course, you don't remember the password, and you spend time resetting the password and getting access. Well, here you can store the credentials and just switch between users. It's super useful, right? Okay, link hyperlinks. So, if you want to have your phone number clickable and have your link client open that link, you can use tel : and the E164 formatted number. Because that is the universal hyperlink for a phone number. And the same for a zip address, zip : and your email address. Because then when you click that, you won't open Outlook, but will open Lync. So, typing the number, and I use this in my Outlook signature. You need to type in the full hyperlink. So you can format the number whatever you want in the view, but the hyperlink should be in the right format. And then you see what kind of applications that can open that kind of link in Lync. And you see that you will be able to call that person as well. It will not call directly, but will open the prompt to do it. And then you have using this for an email address, and this is actually more tricky because the default hyperlink is, of course, mail to. So you need to hack it, remove the email address format, and then add in zip : and add it back. Then you edit the view, and when clicking this, it will open a chat window in Lync. Cool? So this is using Lync like a LyncPro in email signatures. And sometimes you want to reset those hyperlinks in case, just a second. In case you want to make sure that it is the right application opening in that link. So I created a script that will reset user choice for the different hyperlinks like tel : and zip, joining a meeting, and also the mail to. Because I experienced that sometimes it's the wrong application opening these links. So resetting them will give you the choice on what link you want what program you want to open the link in. And you can choose if you want to do it in Skype or the Lync Windows Store app and so on. So sometimes I've seen that Skype will hijack the tel : and the zip, and this is an easy way to reset that. I've also seen that the Lync Windows Modern UI app will also hijack meetings for you. You want to join from your desktop client, but it will join through the other client, which you may want to change. So do link links correct. And then there is a tool out there called Select Dial. Because sometimes you just want to mark a number and then dial it, instead of marking it, copying it, open Lync, and paste it. So there's an app for that as well. Created by MVP Matt Landis. And you just install this file, and then you can press Ctrl and F8 when you have marked this number. So by marking any numbers and pressing the F8, it will paste that into your link. Any format, whatsoever. So it's a useful tool in terms of being more productive with your link and having a better day, actually. Okay, and then there's a third-party tool created by Modality Systems, which is called SuperToast. SuperToast will give you a better warning if someone have sent you an instant message, and they can and you will see that you have got a new message on your screen. So by installing SuperToast, you can choose how long an interval it should be before it will warn you. So here you can choose 30 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. And it will give you a notification that you have an unread message. So here I get a notification, and then you have the SuperToast notification as well, which is more in your face, really. So you will remember that you have unread IMs. Cool? Yeah, quite cool. Quite useful, actually. Okay, and then there is an application also created by Modality System, which is called Auto Assists, which will make it easier for other people sharing their screen with you. It requires that you install their MSI on your side and on their side. So this is something that you can deploy to your users. And instead of you telling them, can you please share your screen with me? And then you need to go through the process, you need to click and share the correct screen and so on. You can initiate this from your side in Lync. So after initializing and installing the MSI, you do this with $share$, and his screen will be shared. You need to accept, of course, on the other side as well. And you even can have control without asking for it. So it's actually a good support tool. So you have full control. And then we can see what it looks like on the other side. You need to accept before you share your screen. That's it. So it won't happen automatically, but it's more easier and more accessible. Cool? Yep, I think so. Great. So that was the demo points I had for today. Any tips you picked up today? Hopefully you can do more with presence, using custom presence states, telling your colleagues what kind of busy you are, and especially using the Pomodoro script in order to shut down your computer if you want to focus, even though you are in the middle of the day or so on. And then you use pictures correct in federated meetings, take control, and meeting best practices, especially that join without audio is quite important. And then profiles for Lync. Really recommend that. It's a really good tool. So hopefully you know more about what's out there, what's possible, and maybe it will be helpful for you in the future. Any questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you for staying.